Hey friends, I finally have some measurable progress to show on my Rococo Winifred Sanderson cosplay build. I finished the Goldwork embroidery on the sleeves of her gown, so let's go through some of the process for said embroidery. Let's jump back to the design process of her sleeves last year. I scaled up a pattern from Ye Olde Trusty Sidekick Patterns of Fashion by Janet Arnold 4 mock-ups later, and I had a great fitting period sleeve pattern that I was ready to draw my design on. I used various references from Hocus Pocus to develop my pattern that was reminiscent of the film without being screen accurate, as the two sleeves are wildly different patterns and fabrics. I traced the embroidery pattern outline onto my flat lining cotton pieces using wax transfer paper. I then laid the taffeta onto the broadcloth, basted the sleeves together, and put them in my large embroidery hoop, using light colored thread to trace my design so I could see it from the front of the taffeta for the embroidery. I also didn't cut out the sleeve pieces because I knew that I needed a ton of excess to be able to pin into the embroidery hoop without scarring the taffeta when I was doing my embroidery. I first filled in all the stem interior with a chain stitch. I used the Diamante thread from DMC in like a bronzy gold color because I thought it had a lot of depth and it was similar to the tones in the original movie. To do a chain stitch, you make a short stitch at the start of your line, then come up the length of a new stitch and use the back of the needle to thread through the first short stitch, bring the needle back down in line with the second, making a small loop on top of the fabric. Then come up another stitch length away and bring the needle back through the second loop and continue. Using the back of the needle to thread through helps prevent the needle from catching on any of the threads. I wasn't super precious about directionality, but I tried to keep it fairly even. I like the chain stitch because it fills in sections relatively quickly and has an interesting texture when you're done. I bought a really cool roller embroidery frame on Amazon that I will link below. I really like that I can put it on my lap or on a tabletop, and then it's pretty customizable rather than the stand that I have for embroidery hoops. I obviously had a little bit of an issue getting my tension correct, as I couldn't easily pull it taut on the horizontal axis because I didn't want to scar the taffeta. Oh, taffeta, you beautiful, delicate flower. You're lucky you're cute. After filling in the stems, I used a Goldwork twist to outline everything. This was my first time using a Goldwork twist, and there was a bit of a learning curve, mostly how to couch it at an angle to hide the couching threads in the twist, and how to use tweezers to gently crimp the twist at the corners. I will say that sleeve number 2 didn't necessarily go faster, but it does look much more clean, so practice makes perfect and all of that business. Then it was time to make 1 million French knots. Super, super time consuming and fiddly, especially because the Diamante thread liked to get tangled behind the frame. I may have decided basically immediately not to fill in the roses completely and do a casual smattering in each base of the flower, but I actually like that a lot better than having them filled in completely. But it was still so many French knots. last step was adding a small flat sequin to the tip of each rose and using a small gold seed bead to hold them in place. I then tried pressing the sleeve and promptly melted half of them and had to do it again. But the sleeve embroidery is done, and now I have moved on to the real gold work, which will be going down the front edge of the bodice and the skirt. The sleeves took me about 50 hours to complete, so we'll see how long the other pieces take. I do really enjoy embroidering, and gold work is like a whole new level, so I am enjoying the challenge and also seeing my skills improve.